It was Valentine's Day. My boyfriend Leo got me gifts and a cake. I was so happy I posted a picture of us together, showing off our love in a new post. It was my first Valentine's Day with a boyfriend. I scrolled through the comments. A lot of people were gushing about how pretty I was, saying I was gorgeous and that my boyfriend was a total catch. My confidence soared. But then there was one comment from a user named The Seeker that was a real eyesore. Stop showing off. That bracelet on your wrist is used to house a dead person's soul. If you keep wearing it, you're going to die. Smash it. Now. I didn't get it. A bracelet was going to kill me? Other users jumped in to reply to him. Did he read one too many fortunes and lose his mind? Yeah, what's with all this ghost and goblin talk? I bet he's just some kind of online scammer. I replied directly, don't try to scare me. I don't believe in that stuff. Almost immediately, I got a response from him. Just think about it. When you first put that bracelet on, didn't you feel an icy, bone-chilling cold? That's because of the dead soul inside. I started to feel a little uneasy, because he was right. But the street vendor had told me it was a rare, high-quality bracelet that would make my skin better. And since I started wearing it, I had definitely gotten more stunning, more beautiful every day. My boyfriend Leo only asked for my number and pursued me because of my looks. We went from strangers to a couple. In my heart, this bracelet was incredibly important. Why would I smash it just because of a few words from some stranger online? But the flood of messages he sent next still made my heart skip a beat. What if this thing really was bad news? A sudden kiss from Leo broke my train of thought. Ruby, what are you thinking about? Let's cut the cake together. I shoved my phone in my pocket and completely forgot about what the seeker had said. Later that night, after I got home and washed up, I opened my private messages on the app and saw that the seeker had sent me a ton of messages. Every single one was telling me to get rid of the bracelet immediately. That bracelet is called a yin-yang bracelet. Just like the name implies, it connects the world of the living and the dead. Once you've worn it for a full 49 days, the owner of the ashes inside will take your place, and no one will be able to save you. Take it off quick. After a month, you won't be able to get it off anymore. I glanced at the date. Today was exactly 1 month since I started wearing the bracelet. I quickly tugged at the bracelet, trying to prove that it could be removed easily. But no matter how hard I tried, it wouldn't come off. I just managed to make my hand red and raw. Even using lubricant, the bracelet was stuck fast to my wrist. That's weird. I had bought a larger size, and it slipped on so smoothly. It shouldn't be like this. Panicking, I clicked on the seeker's profile. I saw tons of posts about fortune-telling and exorcisms, stretching back a long time. It didn't look like a scammer's page. I sent a reply to the seeker, asking him how he could be so sure that mine was a yin-yang bracelet. After all, there are so many bracelets in the world, and many of them look similar. In the photo, there's a red dot in the center of your bracelet. That's formed from the ashes absorbing your life force. If you don't believe me, look for yourself. I checked the photo. Just as the seeker said, there was a red dot in the center of the bracelet. But when I stared at the bracelet on my wrist now, there was nothing there. Also, for your bracelet to have a red dot that gathers life force, it means someone has been dripping blood on it every day. Think about it. Who gets close enough to you every single day? He wants to use your life to nourish a soul. You're in serious danger. Once it has absorbed blood, you won't be able to take it off. A chill went down my spine. I thought about how Leo would stroke my bracelet every day, telling me how beautiful it was, saying he loved the bracelet as much as he loved me. I suddenly started to panic. Because of what the seeker had said, I even began to feel that wearing the bracelet was making my whole body uncomfortable. I used to be what people would call that girl, average looks, average body. But ever since I bought this bracelet, Leo somehow got my contact info and pursued me relentlessly. Leo was handsome, gentle, and kind, and I quickly agreed to be his girlfriend, starting our sweet romance. He was always complimenting my bracelet, cherishing it as much as I did. Every time he held my hand, he would gently stroke the bracelet, like it was a precious treasure. I had assumed he loved the bracelet because he loved me. But now, the seeker's words filled me with dread. To be honest, I didn't really believe the bracelet was made of ashes or was meant to nourish a soul for someone. After all, I had spotted it at a street stall and bought it on a whim. It wasn't a gift from Leo. But I couldn't ignore what the seeker was saying. No one wants to gamble with their own life. I asked him for more details about the yin-yang bracelet. If you don't believe me, don't leave your house at all tomorrow. The person who's been dripping blood on the bracelet will definitely try to get close to you. That's because the bracelet can't go without blood before it's time to be removed. Find a way to refuse to go out. Without fresh blood, the bracelet will slowly start to wither. I'll head over to your area to handle the rest. The seeker's messages kept coming. After thinking for a moment, I decided to listen to him, just to be safe. It's better to be safe than sorry, and I wasn't willing to lose my life over a bracelet. But the next day was the weekend. Normally, Leo and I would be stuck together like glue. Sure enough, the next morning, I got a message from Leo. Ruby, what should we do today? How about we go swimming? Don't you know how? Even though I don't, I love watching you swim so freely in the water. I had never told Leo the first likes swimming. Or did he hear that? Suspicious, I scrolled through my social media feed and found an old post I'd made about swimming. My profile was public. I figured he must have seen it there. I thought for a moment and replied, I'm not feeling so great today. Let's go out tomorrow. After hearing what the seeker said yesterday, I hadn't slept a wink all night. I even had a nightmare that my body was taken over by a woman with wild, messy hair. It scared me so much that I kept my eyes wide open for the rest of the night, afraid to fall back asleep. Then I'll come over to keep you company. I can bring you some of your favorite food. I miss you, Ruby. Leo's words made my heart feel warm. But thinking of what the online stranger had said, I steeled myself and turned him down. Tomorrow. I'm a little tired today and want to catch up on sleep. After sending it, I tossed my phone aside, forcing myself not to reply anymore. But a little while later, I got a call saying my food delivery had arrived. I definitely didn't order any food. So I opened our chat and saw a message from Leo. Then get some rest. See you tomorrow. I ordered some takeout for you, remember to get it. I thought to myself, Leo probably isn't the one dripping blood on the bracelet. Maybe what the seeker said was complete nonsense. I even felt a little ridiculous for letting a few words from a stranger throw me into a panic, and even start doubting my own boyfriend. But my next thought wiped the smile off my face. I opened the door and saw Leo standing there, holding a bag of takeout. Suddenly, I couldn't smile anymore. A million chaotic thoughts spun in my head. I even started imagining how he might try to murder me, playing out a whole movie's worth of scenarios in my mind. Leo's face was still the same handsome face I knew, but at that moment, it sent my mood plummeting into an abyss. He really was trying to harm me. Whose soul was he trying to raise using my body? It wasn't until Leo's face was right in front of mine that I snapped out of it. Aren't you going to invite me in? Leo saw my gloomy expression and quickly asked me what was wrong. I just said I hadn't rested well yesterday, and that's why I looked off. The moment he came in, he reached for my left hand, the one with the bracelet. The seeker's words exploded in my mind. I quickly sidestepped and grabbed his hand with my right. What are you doing here all of a sudden? And how did you know I was hungry? Leo didn't seem angry about my sudden move. While we were eating, I kept glancing at his hands. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary. But the fact that the bracelet wouldn't come off still made me deeply uneasy. I couldn't stop thinking about it. By the afternoon, Leo still showed no signs of leaving. He was clattering around in my kitchen, making me a glass of lemonade. We'd been together for a while, and he made me a fresh fruit juice every day. But this time, when he handed me the lemonade, I froze. There was a clear cut on his hand, with a bead of blood on it. On pure instinct, I jerked my hand up so he couldn't touch my bracelet, knocking the glass from his hand. It shattered and a piece of glass flew up and cut Leo's leg. I'm so sorry. I apologized quickly, backing away from him. I turned to go to my room to get the first aid kit, but as I turned, I heard Leo let out a short, sharp laugh. It was a sneer, a laugh full of contempt. But when I spun back around, he was just sitting there, with no strange expression at all. Did I mishear it? As I was disinfecting Leo's cut, I vaguely felt my phone vibrate in my pocket, again and again. Leo didn't say anything, just stared intently at the bracelet on my hand. What's wrong? You keep staring at my bracelet today? I asked, pretending to be casual. Want me to take it off so you can play with it? A slight curve appeared on Leo's lips, and I couldn't read his expression. Okay. I didn't expect Leo to answer like that. The atmosphere became incredibly awkward. I knew the bracelet wouldn't come off now, so I had to wait for him to leave before I could figure out how to smash it. Even though we'd been together for a while, and I'd always thought he was a great boyfriend, I wasn't about to bet my life on it. In the next second, Leo smoothly slipped the bracelet right off my wrist. It's mine now then. Leo took the bracelet off so fast I didn't even have time to react. I couldn't even manage an expression. But when I saw the bracelet was off, my face changed in an instant. There was shock, but also relief. The good news was the bracelet was off. I wasn't going to die, right? Was it possible Leo's gentle approach wasn't working, so he decided to just take it by force? Leo noticed the change in my expression too. He suddenly laughed out loud. What are you thinking? Like I'm going to eat you or something. I saw there was a crack in your bracelet. I know someone who can fix it. Isn't this your favorite bracelet? How can you wear it if it's not perfect? With that, he placed the bracelet in my palm. Sure enough, I picked it up and saw a crack on the surface. It must have happened when I dodged Leo as he came in the door. With the bracelet off, I started to think maybe the online stranger was wrong. Maybe he was just a fortune teller, and there was no such thing as all this spooky stuff. Leo chatted with me for a long time, only leaving after it was completely dark. I looked at my empty left wrist, and the heavy weight in my heart finally lifted. I quickly grabbed my phone and messaged the seeker again, telling him my bracelet was off and asking if that meant the whole soul-raising thing was over. But the seeker's next words plunged my heart into an icy abyss. Impossible. Blood has already been offered to it. You couldn't have taken it off yourself. Someone else took it off for you. You've been tricked. Once the person who offered the blood takes off the bracelet, tomorrow night is when you're supposed to die. Also, with the bracelet off, you will see the owner of the ashes tonight. Whatever you do, don't let her know you can see her. She won't hurt you tonight. She just wants a preview of the person she's about to replace. But if she finds out you can see her, all bets are off. My hand holding the phone trembled, and it fell to the floor. I'm going to see her tonight? Where will she be? I didn't even dare to lift my head, just prayed she wouldn't suddenly appear in front of me. I turned on every light in the house and planned to hide in my bed and pretend to be asleep. The seeker said she wouldn't hurt me. As long as I was asleep, I wouldn't be scared. But as I turned to go back to my room, I saw her in the mirror. A woman was standing behind me. Her hair was a mess, covering her face. Her body was soaking wet, like she had just crawled out of a river. As I stared into the mirror, she opened her mouth. A grinding, creaking sound came from her teeth. She pulled her hair aside, revealing her eyes. They were completely white, and the sockets were twice the size of a normal person's. Goosebumps erupted all over my skin. I was so scared I could barely think straight. My mouth opened before I could stop it. After I screamed, I distinctly felt the woman behind me lean her neck onto my shoulder. Then she whipped her head around to look at me. You can see me. My heart leaped into my throat. I forced myself to calm down, pulling out my phone and babbling. Oh, I totally forgot to message Leo to see if he got home safe. He's going to be mad at me. I pulled out my phone and started typing. I watched as the woman behind me stared for a moment, then drifted off to the side, though her eyes never left me. She toyed with her own hair, even placing her head on her knees, humming a tune as she braided it. I was covered in a cold sweat, my hands trembling as I messaged the seeker, telling him I saw the woman and asking what I should do next. A voice call request immediately popped up from the other side. I was surprised. The seeker was actually a woman. Her voice was soft and delicate, not at all what you'd expect from a ghost hunter. I know you're scared. I'll stay on the line with you for a bit. She's right there next to you. Just listen to what I say. The seeker said that based on the current situation, it was certain that Leo was the one dripping blood on my bracelet. This woman was the target he wanted to resurrect, and I was the one providing the body. With the bracelet off, Tonight was the only night the woman and I would be alone together. I had to pretend I couldn't see her all night and not arouse her suspicion. Otherwise, if she thought my body couldn't be used for her return, she would kill me. Also, she continued, since they chose you as the vessel for the soul's return, you must have had some connection with this woman before she died. Or maybe you witnessed her death. Otherwise, the method of using blood to nourish ashes wouldn't work. But I had no memory of ever seeing her. To get a better look at the woman's face, I gently glanced in her direction, only to find she was gone. Just as I let out a breath and started to relax, I suddenly felt an icy chill on my back. She was breathing on the back of my neck. Every hair on my body stood on end, but I had to grit my teeth and tell myself not to panic. But her posture was just too bizarre. Her legs were bent as if she were swimming, and her hand was resting on my head. I was on the verge of suffocating from fear. I just kept saying aha, aha in response to the seeker, memorizing everything she said. The seeker told me to just get through tonight. Tomorrow night would be the most dangerous. During the day tomorrow, although I wouldn't be able to see the woman, I had to go along with their plans. Leo would definitely try to ask me out. My job was to go along with it and pretend I knew nothing. Otherwise, the woman would kill me. I first saw the woman at 10 p.m. Therefore, the soul swap had to happen at 10 p.m. tomorrow. Before the swap, Leo would definitely put the bracelet back on my hand to reinforce the soul vessel. The seeker would strike at the moment of the transfer, when the soul's connection was weakest, and destroy the woman's spirit. Tomorrow, when you get to the location, find a way to send me your GPS coordinates. If I don't make it by 10 p.m. sharp, you have to find a way to drip your own blood onto the yin-yang bracelet. Once the blood on the bracelet is impure, it can buy you some time. After going over a few more important details, the seeker hung up. I had no choice but to force myself back to bed. I didn't dare to sleep. I just closed my eyes and started counting sheep. 1, 2, 3. As I was counting, just as I was telling myself everything would be fine once I fell asleep, I felt something wet on my face. Drip. Drip. Something was dripping onto my face, bit by bit. I wanted to leap out of bed. I knew. That woman was on the ceiling right above me, watching me. The water from her body was dripping down onto my face, my body. My muscles tensed up. I squeezed my eyes shut and forced myself to roll over. When I opened my eyes again, it was already afternoon. I was woken up by Leo knocking on my door. Leo said he was going to take me somewhere special today. Where are we going? I asked immediately. But of course, Leo wasn't going to just tell me the location. I'd have to find another way. I ate a few slices of bread and drank the juice Leo had made, and then we left. By the time the car stopped, the sky was already growing dark. I looked at the beach. At this time of night, there was no one else around. Signs on both sides read, "Deep water, danger. No swimming." I know you love to swim, but I don't. I've always felt that was a shame. So look, I rented a small yacht. I wanted to experience that relaxing feeling on the water with you. I forced a smile, looking at Leo. Forget relaxing. I was feeling a distinct sense of impending doom. Leo told me to close my eyes. Then, a burst of fireworks exploded in the night sky, dazzling and bright. He got down on one knee, about to place the yin-yang bracelet back on my hand. I saw his eyes clearly. They were as gentle as water, looking past me at the woman standing behind me. From this day on, we will always be together. I won't let myself lose you again. The moment the yin-yang bracelet slipped onto my hand, I could have sworn I saw a tear at the corner of Leo's eye. As I was climbing onto the yacht, I managed to send my location to the seeker and glanced at the time. It was 8 p.m. Now that I knew Leo's plan, every second with him felt like torture. Leo had me sit down on the yacht, his voice still gentle. "Ruby, let's do something exciting today. Hold on tight." Before I could even finish saying okay, Leo gunned the engine. I couldn't react in time and fell straight into the water. I know how to swim, but right now my body felt like it weighed 1,000 pounds. My arms and legs were useless. I could only thrash around in the water as it filled my mouth and nose. Leo finally turned around. He stared at me, watching as I sank and struggled back to the surface. He had no intention of pulling me up. My eyes read, I managed to gasp, "Leo, I'm losing my strength. Pull me up." Leo reached out his hand, pulled me halfway up, and then repeatedly pushed me back under the icy sea. "How does it feel? The despair of drowning? Doesn't this place look familiar?" Leo's voice was colder than the night sea. He pushed my head under the water again with his hand. I choked on the water, unable to breathe. Suddenly, a memory flooded my mind. I had been to this beach 2 years ago. Back then it was bustling with people. A crowd was gathered, and I pushed my way through to see that a girl had been swept into the sea by the waves. Her boyfriend, who couldn't swim, was frantically screaming for help on the shore. But no one dared to go in after her. People were panicking and calling 911. I saw the girl was being pulled further and further out by the waves, and I gritted my teeth and went in to save her. But it didn't go smoothly. She kept struggling, pushing me under the water. I couldn't get my strength, so I had to circle around behind her, trying to pull her up. But a wave hit, pulling her even further out. When I looked again, I couldn't find her. Just then, I saw the rescue team had entered the water, and I swam back to shore relieved. Soaking wet, I struggled back to the shore. By the time the rescue team pulled her out, she had stopped breathing. And her boyfriend blamed me. Why did I try to save her if I couldn't bring her back? He said that if I had just let the woman push me under, she could have held on until the rescue team arrived. He said my death wouldn't have mattered, as long as his girlfriend was saved. I looked at Leo in front of me now. His ugly, contorted face gradually merged with the face of that man from back then. I recognized him. He had just changed his appearance, so I never suspected a thing. That woman had drowned. No wonder she was always soaking wet. You remember now, don't you, Ruby? If it weren't for you, my Winnie wouldn't have died. And I wouldn't have had to go to so much trouble to use your life to bring her back. So, to get close to me, Leo had turned his drowned girlfriend's ashes into the yin-yang bracelet. He set up a stall on the street I walked by every day, luring me into buying it. He used every trick in the book to get close to me, all to swap my life for his beloved's. I was too exhausted to thrash in the sea anymore, and was finally thrown onto the beach by Leo. Just before I lost consciousness, I saw Leo setting up some kind of ritual array on the ground. The woman was lying on the sand, her legs twisted up around her neck, poised to strike. "You'll be resurrected soon, Winnie," he said to the woman beside him. 10 o'clock. Everything was ready. The candles were lit, but then blown out by the sea breeze. I used that moment to scramble up from the ground, but Leo grabbed my leg, dragging me across the sand like a broken, battered doll. The woman cackled on top of me. I was like a skateboard for her amusement. Finally, I ran out of strength. Leo placed me in the center of the candles. A jar of ashes was poured over my body. That must be the woman's ashes, I thought. I saw the woman hovering above me, her grin sinister and terrifying. She stared at me without blinking, like a predator watching its prey. My body trembled uncontrollably. I cried out that I didn't kill her, begging her not to harm me. But slowly, I could feel my body being filled, stretched, like it was about to explode. Oh no! She was drilling into my body bit by bit. The wider she drilled, the more ghoulish her smile became. What a wonderful body. It'll be mine soon. The woman's face got closer and closer. The sight made my breathing quicken. I was terrified. Remembering the seeker's instructions, I scraped my hand against the rough sand, again and again. Soon, a trickle of blood emerged and seeped into the yin-yang bracelet. The woman seemed to sense something was wrong. She shrieked, "How can this be? How can this be? Leo, I can't get into her body." Her fingernails were long, and they dug into my flesh. I couldn't escape. She tried even harder to squeeze into my body, but found that when her head got in, her feet would pop out. After a few tries, she became furious, her eyes filled with a murderous rage. She looked like she wanted to tear me apart and swallow me whole. "Leo, I'm going to kill her. Kill her." Just as I was giving up hope, a woman's piercing scream echoed, and I saw a strange flame ignite on her body. The seeker had arrived. The seeker threw me a stone covered in paper talismans. "Smash the yin-yang bracelet now. I'll handle her." The moment I got the stone, a sharp pain shot through my right hand. Leo had been hiding a knife. It was now stabbed through my hand, and blood was pouring out. If I can't save my Winnie, then you can just die. Why? Why did you have to ruin my perfect plan? Just a little longer, and Winnie could have come back to me. Why? Leo sat on top of me, his hands wrapped around my neck. I had nowhere to run. I could only use my left hand to slam the bracelet again, and again onto the stone the Seeker had thrown me. Meanwhile, the Seeker was yelling, "Resurrecting yourself by harming others is forbidden. Give up now, and you can still be reincarnated." But the woman wasn't listening. Her face was ferocious, her hatred deep. But a lone ghost is no match for a powerful expert like the Seeker. I watched as the woman slowly dissipated under the Seeker's wooden sword. She staggered towards me, wanting to try one last time to enter my body. Seeing his love about to disappear, Leo sliced his own arm, instantly staining the yin-yang bracelet on my hand with his blood. "Quick, Winnie. Come quick." Just as she was about to succeed, I finally smashed the yin-yang bracelet. A foul, rotten smell filled the air. Because of the blood, a bloody fluid even leaked out of the broken bracelet. The overpowering stench nearly made me vomit. The woman's figure turned into tiny sparks in the night, and with a final scream, she scattered into the air. Leo couldn't bear losing his love a second time. He went mad, frantically scraping at the ashes scattered on my body, trying to stuff them back into the shattered bracelet. "There's a way. There must be a way. Ruby, you should be dead. You should be dead." But the bracelet was in pieces. His eyes turned completely white, and a black aura surrounded his body. The Seeker moved like lightning, piercing Leo's abdomen with her sword to stop him from turning into a demon. Leo's skin aged rapidly before our eyes, then returned to normal. The Seeker said it was because Leo had used his own blood to sustain the spirit. Now that the spirit was gone, he wouldn't live much longer either. He looked the same on the outside, but his insides were already decaying. The Seeker bandaged my wound and told me she had already called the police on her way over, and that they would be here soon. The sound of sirens grew louder. To avoid any trouble, the Seeker left first, leaving me with a powerless and defeated Leo. As I watched the Seeker's figure disappear into the distance, I thought about everything that had happened with Leo. A bitter laugh escaped my lips. Leo looked at me and finally asked the question that was burning inside him. "I had everything ready, but Winnie couldn't enter your body. Why? You knew everything, yet you pretended to be clueless. I always thought it was because you had help, but I know that's not it. Even if she hadn't come to help, you wouldn't have died. Right?" I turned to look at Leo. I had to admit he was smart. As the police officers approached, I smiled brightly in the darkness. "Yes. But you made one fatal miscalculation. The street vendor told me it was a rare, high-quality bracelet that would make my skin better. And since I started wearing it, I had definitely gotten more stunning, more beautiful every day. But you miscalculated one thing. I had already laid my claim on this body." Amidst Leo's shock and regret, a female officer helped me to my feet. I pretended to be weak and fragile, collapsing into her arms. Leo was eventually sent to prison for assault with intent to cause grievous bodily harm. Not long after, he died in his cell. The official cause was organ failure, that his life had simply reached its limit. Once my life returned to normal, the Seeker would still send me messages from time to check in. She said Leo's death was just a case of a wicked person getting what they deserved. I thanked her for her concern and deleted all my social media posts that had anything to do with Leo. One evening, I was wandering down a street I often took and saw a cute doll at a street stall. The vendor enthusiastically pitched it to me. "Put this doll in your home, and it will bring you more and more luck." I picked up the doll, examining it. Meeting the vendor's knowing, meaningful gaze, I bought the doll and took it home. In the dead of night, I received a friend request notification. "It's an honor to meet you." A smile spread across my face. I accepted the request and replied with a sweet, adorable emoji. I'm quite curious to see just how much of an honor this will turn out to be. The end.